Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Dragonlance Companion, offers 180 pages for players and DMs to bring the magical world of Krynn to life. And like many of our books, it's available in hardcover and digital format. Our Swarms of the Multiverse offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms, instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demiplanes. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs alike. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take potions to the next level in your game. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. First, let's talk about our exclusive discount at Splinterverse everywhere this week. It is for Rauvin Vale, Ashes of Lhuvenhead, an adventure by Ethan Stanhope and Tian Stanhope. It is $1.95 normally, but with the Splinterverse discount, it's going to be 40% off, so just a little bit over $1 for this adventure in Forgotten Realms. And it says, after a scout arrives at Hilltop and reports that hobgoblins have been spotted approaching the ruins of Lhuvenhead, the adventurers must travel to the destroyed town and dispatch the hobgoblin forces. They work for the blue dragon 𝘏𝙤𝙬𝙬 and the blood of Morame before they can establish a base. So, fun connections to Forgotten Realms. You're going to be facing off against hobgoblins. You can see a little bit of the layout here. We're going to look inside and see more, but look at that beautiful artwork to accompany this really easy to read layout. So you've got the introduction with a cool quote from R.A. Salvatore, and then it goes right into the village of Rauvin Vale, or the hilltop in Rauvin Vale, and it gives you the sort of flavor text here, and then it says, as the characters head toward Lhuvenhead through the Vale, they encounter other travelers on the road. So you have to roll to find out who they encounter. If you roll a 1, there's nothing, but all the way up to 12, where it's a dog, and you have to deal with that. So maybe you get the dog to come along with you, or you send it on its way. You got 1d4 commoner children who think the characters are really cool, a merchant that sells adventuring gear, and other encounters along the way. Then you have the charred town. It says, years ago, the orcs of the Many Arrows tribe razed the village, turning the streets and homes black with soot. Today, the ashen buildings lay sunken into the ground, becoming swallowed by moss and ivy as nature reclaims the once tamed land. And then it's got exploration with a treasure table. And then there's 3 hobgoblins patrolling the ruins of the town, and developments for that, and you can see some additional nice artwork there. Then you get to the tower and dealing with mouse holes. It says, throughout the tower, characters may find many mouse holes with a successful investigation check. Each mouse hole was built into the tower intentionally to allow Albelar's familiar Woodchip to roam the tower freely. A hole is large enough only for tiny creatures to pass through, so that's cool. There's a little familiar running through those. And there's a library, and that's just what we're seeing in the excerpt here, because we're only seeing 4 of the 9 pages, so there's a lot more to be had in the full book. But let's read a little bit more of the flavor text. So, approaching the tower, a derelict spire adorned with ivy strands alone, or sorry, I read that wrong. A derelict spire adorned with ivy stands alone in the grassland, surrounded by an overgrown garden and low-hanging fog. The acid stench of smoke lingers in the air. Dim torchlight can be seen emanating from a window in one of the upper floors. So, nice description of that tower that you're going to approach. And then another one for the library. It says, shallow wooden bookcases adorn the walls of this chamber. The shelves are nearly empty aside from a few sparse tomes. A work desk can be found in the southeastern section of the room. And so it says, if the characters have explored every floor and did not encounter Woodchip, she resides here. So you're definitely going to meet this little familiar, which I think is so cool. I love the name of the familiar too. But yeah, we're just scratching the surface of what's in here. I know this is going to be good because Ethan was one of the designers for Dragonlance Companion and is very talented. So I'm excited for you to be able to experience more of Ethan's work for such a low price. I mean, just over $1 for all this adventure fun. It is for a group of 5 second level characters, so that's a pretty good, level to need an adventure for. You're going to have a lot of adventures at that level typically. So I think for just over $1 to get all this fun artwork, original art on the cover here, and all this fun stuff, including wood chip, the familiar. So you got to check it out and take advantage of this discount. These discounts only last for about a week and then they're gone, and we're partway through the week already. So make sure you look for it in the video description links under Rauvin Vale, Ashes of Lhuvenhead, and give it a click. Next, we have our first new release, The Dragon's Hoard, issue 25 from Legendary Games, is $5.99 for 28 pages. And as usual, this magazine includes an assortment of things for your games, including items, spells, subclasses, and monsters. And let's take a look inside at what they have on offer this issue. So you can see the subclasses include the Anarchist, the Privateer, the Sanctified Crusader, and then they have some feats as well this time. And then the monsters, Abracandaloo, all the way down to Witchfire, and something called the Sleeping Willow, which sounds really cool. So all these magic items are in here, and you just get to see the magic item section in the preview, which is fine. So we've got the Amulet of Mimicry. That looks really cool. I love the artwork for that. It says, well, it's a rare item. While wearing this amulet, you can speak its command word as an action to transform into a mundane object that is your size or smaller and weighs between 1 and 200 pounds. This transformation lasts for 8 hours or until you drop to 0 hit points. You can revert to your normal form earlier by using an action on your turn. You acquire the AC, size, weight, and form of the object, but cannot move or take actions other than to revert to your normal form. When you transform, your equipment merges into your new form and has no effect until you leave the form. Once used, the amulet shouldn't be used again until the next dawn. Each time it is used again before then, the creature wearing the amulet must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be stuck in its assumed form until it is targeted by the removed curse spell or similar magic. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that you can transform into like a mundane object. Really, really cool. And then we've got Bow of Swords, a Cloak of the Unseen, a Bracelet of the Spectral Pug. That sounds really fun. Let's read about the Spectral Pug here. I love the artwork for that. It says it's very rare, requires attunement. This bracelet looks like a worn black leather dog collar. Although it doesn't look flashy, wearing it feels like getting a hug from an old friend. When you attune to the bracelet, Pugsley, the spectral pug, appears in an unoccupied space within 10 feet of you. He's invisible and inaudible to all creatures except you and creatures of your choice that you can see or hear. Pugsley uses the statistics for a mastiff, except that he has 100 hit points, can't attack, and has true sight out to 120 feet. Pugsley uses his movement to stay within 30 feet of you, and his walking speed changes to match your fastest speed. When smaller or larger creature that Pugsley doesn't recognize comes within 30 feet of him, he alerts his master with a raspy bark. When he drops to 0 hit points, he disappears. If you remain attuned to the bracelet until the next dawn, Pugsley reappears with a loud sneeze. When you take a short rest, you can speak the bracelet's command word to have Pugsley help soothe and revitalize allies. Creatures that pet Pugsley during the short rest instead gain the benefits of a long rest as they listen to him sleep and gently snore. This property of the bracelet can't be used again until the next dawn. So that's cool. Get the advantages of a long rest on a short rest. You get a little companion that's helpful to you. He sneezes, which makes me think of a pug as well in real life. So really fun stuff. And that's just a few of the items. So again, this is a grab bag of things. You're getting subclasses, items, monsters, spells. So I think these are a really fun series. I always enjoy the artwork and the lore that we get to read from them. So check it out. It's under Dragon's Hoard 25 in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Drunken Disorderly by Danny Kodacek and Tracy Goodwin for Dungeons with Plumbing, and it is $3.99 for 11 pages. It says, does your party like to party? If you've ever felt that the poison condition doesn't sufficiently capture all the nuances of the many mind-altering substances in the world, this supplement is just what you need. Contains step-by-step rules for handling intoxication, as well as over 20 different conditions, both beneficial and detrimental, that your creatures can take on in-game, including mellow, paranoid, belligerent, and unsteady, and a variety of example substances that might be found in fantasy worlds, along with advice for handling abuse, addiction, etc. in your game. And of course, it's compatible with 5th edition. So I'm going to be showing some of the inside. I'm going to be changing a few of the words just to comply with YouTube's policies. But you'll get the idea. So all kinds of good stuff in here. And I think there's a lot of interesting rules that you can use to make this feel more lifelike in game. So one of them is hypo darts. It says substances and poisons that need to be delivered by injection can be administered through specialized darts. These are rare and expensive to procure, and they cannot be reused as their thin needles break off on impact, whether or not the attack hits the target. 2 kinds of darts are available, one that is thrown costing 10 GP and another that can be loaded into a crossbow for 20 GP. On a hit, each deals piercing damage and a single dose of the liquid substance or poison. If the dart misses its target and is recovered, the substance can be extracted from it, but the dart cannot be used again in your game. And then you've got these really cool conditions for all sorts of stuff going on. And what I like about these conditions is that, yeah, they can relate to people getting intoxicated or whatever in the story. But these rules can also be used, I think, for other, various situations, whether it's a magical effect, somebody touches something that they shouldn't touch, and then all of a sudden they have one of these conditions. So I really like these because I think they have a lot of value and a lot of use outside of, dealing with medicines or poisons or things like that in the game. So you've got anesthetized. An anesthetized creature feels little or no pain. It gains 1d8 temporary hit points at the start of each of its turns. Then you've got belligerent. A belligerent creature has disadvantage on all charisma ability checks and saving throws. The creature must make an attack of opportunity against any target to which it is hostile if it is able to do so. The creature must make a wisdom saving throw at the substance's DC each time it is asked a question or given an instruction, becoming hostile to another creature on a failure. It can repeat the saving throw each minute. On a success, the creature reverts to its previous attitude, but does not end the belligerent condition. So all sorts of things happening with this one, which I like. These being forced to attack and having connection to other conditions. Like, you can go from one to another, but you still have it. I like that. Even confidence is in here as a condition. Delusions is fun because they've got a whole table of options. So you've got delusional creature must succeed at a wisdom saving throw at the substance's DC each time or each minute, or develop a false belief. This can be one selected from the delusions table or any similar belief. While holding a false belief, the creature repeats the saving throw each minute, ending the false belief on a success. The false belief also ends if the delusional condition ends. And so then some of the delusions are an invisible creature is trying to steal my belongings, I'm really a god in avatar form, or I'm being swarmed by a flock of chickens. So lots of fun stuff could happen. And then, like I said, there's so many of these conditions. I think there's over 20 of them. Another one is inspired. A creature that is inspired has advantage on all intelligence, wisdom, and charisma-based ability checks. I mean, they're all so different. I think, again, these are so useful because you can think of these effects for other things that could happen. So really fun. I definitely like this book quite a bit. I think, we start the game in a tavern a lot. So there's going to be people experiencing these things in there. There's going to be other opportunities for these things to come up. You drink a potion in the game, or some other thing happens, you get poisoned, or, like I said, you could just touch something and have some weird effect happen. So look for it in the links below under Drunken Disorderly. Next, we have Merchants of Alveria Theme Shops 2 from Gabrielo Despent, and it's on sale for $3.99, normally $4.99 for 32 pages for 5th edition. And this is the 4th volume in the series, and really what this series is bringing you is a collection of shops, NPCs, factions, etc., all connected to, merchants and things that are happening for trade. And I think that's super important because you never know when you're going to need to drop in some sort of establishment, some sort of character that's going to interface with your party to sell them something or give them some information, etc. So let's take a look inside. So in this one, you're going to get the 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀 Mysterium, the Picket Islanders, and Holy Church of Eros, as well as equipment lists and other information. So it starts with some sort of setting information, but again, you can drop these anywhere. And then we're going to get to look at the 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀 Mysterium, which includes a CR8 stat block for Aemilius 𝙤𝙤𝙀, which is really nice with some nice artwork. So let's go up here and look at this. It says, there is a mysterious manor rumored to be a mercantile establishment that offers an unusual combination of merchandise, arcane-related items, and black market goods. Adding to its mystery is that one can never pinpoint its exact location. It seems that the building appears and disappears at a whim. 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀 Mysterium is an establishment that caters to mages and thieves of dubious personalities. It is located on the first floor of 𝙤𝙤𝙀 Manor, an edifice seeping with primal arcane energy. Its brooding and deceptive owner, Aemilius 𝙤𝙤𝙀, is a sly and powerful mage not to be trifled with. On the other hand, his manservant, Rauvin, is well connected to several thieves' guilds. So very cool history there. And then you got, in order to evade authorities and high-minded individuals, Aemilius teleports the manor to places far from danger and discovery. Due to this, patrons cannot establish a reliable contact with the merchants. More often than not, Aemilius and Rauvin are the ones who find their customers and not the other way around. So yeah, they're up to some shady stuff, teleporting around the store to keep people from finding them and going back on their word, I guess. So you've got manor locations. It could be on the outskirts of a rural town. It could be on a vast yet neglected gated estate, on a rocky island a mile away from shore. So all over the place, they teleport this thing. And then you get details on Rauvin and other characters that you can find there, which is helpful. And then down here, we've got Aemilius 𝙤𝙀𝙀, a tiefling 58 years old. Aemilius is a tiefling mage with strong infernal ties. His dark red skin, pointed tail, and bat-like wings, features of an infernal creature, are concealed by his practical and modern-looking garment. He handles a crooked staff with an attached green orb. A ring of metal keys is attached firmly to his belt. Aemilius's virtue name is Scorn. It is his belief that he could outwit and outthink everyone, especially fellow spellcasters. In fact, he would not think twice shaming those who display a sharp intellect. Aemilius is a prudent and deceitful wizard. He restrains from using magic in casual or practical manner. Only if threatened will Aemilius transform into a devastating opponent who hurls evocation spells without much effort. So yeah, you've got an interesting character here, and yeah, I like that he's sort of behind this whole black market of magical stuff. And yeah, we're just scratching the surface here. There's a number of stores in here that you can place anywhere in your campaign setting, and lots of details on their proprietors. So you just are always going to need lots and lots of these. Your characters are, your players are going to say, where is this? How do we get in here? What building is that? And ask all these questions. So having these on hand is going to save you. So look for it under Merchants of Alveria in the links below in the video description, and give it a click. Next, we have Orbital Vampire City for Dungeon Age, from Dungeon Age Adventures, by Joseph R. Lewis for 5th edition and OSR, it says. So far out in the void, an ancient city of vampires endures. Welcome to Arveshti, a city of 1,000 towers floating safely in the shadow of the world, glittering with starlight, thrumming with ancient magics, and crawling with vicious immortals. Will you seek to destroy these bloodthirsty aristocrats, or will you help them pursue their bizarre alchemical experiments in immortality? Within these ancient towers, adventurers will find vampire lords and servants, zealots and Goliaths, as well as werewolves, mycotic zombies, victims of strange experimentation, and much more. So it's a dark sandbox, mid-level combat, exploration, dark fantasy, and lots of other things, including gothic horror. But it's designed for mid-level characters around level 5 to 10. You explore Vampire City in space, encounter numerous NPCs and monsters, and engage with diverse factions to destroy, conquer, or escape from the city. You get 40 plus unique encounter locations, 100 plus magical items, and 40 plus original monsters. Estimated playtime 1 to 8 sessions, so between 4 and 32 hours. And you get one PDF for the 5th edition and one for old school, like Old School Essentials. So that's so cool. I always love that about Dungeon Age. They give you those options. So one purchase gets you everything. In this case, it's $10 for 75 pages. And thinking about this, I mean, this Orbital Vampire City might be really cool for like Spelljammer. If you're playing Spelljammer, you can have this be some place that you either stop at thinking you're gonna, get some supplies and then you encounter everything there, or it could be a deliberate choice to go there. Maybe there's something in your campaign that requires that you have to go to this Orbital Vampire City, but yeah, I think it could be a really cool place to encounter. I mean, Wild Space is vast. There's so much stuff out there. Or you can use it, of course, in the Dungeon Age campaign setting as well. So really fun stuff. They give you kind of an intro and layout, how it works, and they always have really interesting layout for their books. But I appreciate it because I feel like the way that they do it with the 3 columns makes it so easy to absorb the information. So it talks about the different factions. So there's the Vampire Night Lords, the ancient rulers of Ardveshti. These decadent vampires are masters of alchemy, live lives of luxury in their countless towers, and enjoy wanton violence. They are served by their vampire thralls. Most of them support the great work because it will create a vast vampire nation for them to rule over. And then you have the Alucard vampire hunters. These humans band together to hunt vampires. They are all victims of vampire violence and have been traumatized by loss. They are generally paranoid and fear being eaten or turned into vampires. But that's just a couple. We just read 2 of at least 3 or 4 different factions. So you want to read more about those. And then it talks about movement and some game hooks. We'll look at those in a minute. But here's a map of the different towers. So you got the Shattered Colosseum, the Pulsating Mountain, Concrete Bowl, and then random encounters. So lots of those on a D66 here. And then you got random ruined towers. So it tells you how many floors, what kind of weirdness is in there, like petrified monkeys or stinking vines. And then under discoveries, things like lemon trees, well of salt water, jar of human eyes. So, I mean, these are even cool for other purposes outside of this adventure to make some choices. And then here, right away, we get into these numbered points of interest on that map. So the Armored Conservatory, mismatched metal plates cover some of the soaring glass walls of the sprawling geodesic dome. Inside, green leaves and tall grasses obscure the lower windows. Dozens of tiny holes surround the cast or surround the east and west doors. And then it gives you all the details of it. And it says doors locked, trapped. When opened from the outside, a thick molasses sprays out of the tiny holes under the PCs. And then it tells you what happens if you roll a d6. And then you've got figured Night Lord Cupra Viseria, a 4,000-year-old beautiful, ragged, crazed, presumably vampire, wears a tattered red silk dress and diamond ring, woven grass gloves, shoes, and a tall crown. Bolted to the metal X-frame through her arms and legs, fed the grass blood of the Necroslavi to survive, jumps erratically between personalities, demanding worship, missing her cat, Tiberius, bargaining for her freedom, thirsting for real blood, and begging for death, supports the great work. So yeah, this particular vampire has been, so it's a Night Lord, so there's a stat block somewhere in here for the Night Lord, has been imprisoned basically and is getting fed stuff through this imprisonment, and has all these different personalities that are coming out over time, probably going crazy being tied up for so long. So it says you can free or feed or kill, eat the crops. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. It says, and there's even a quest. Lady Cupra supports the great work to turn all humans into vampires, tells the PCs to bring a soul stone to the Tower of Peace. And then there's a treasure. I mean, I love how versatile the Dungeon Age stuff is, because they're giving you so many different options of things that you can do here. So player choice is important, giving you different quests, connecting to this. I mean, this map is pretty significant. There's a lot of stuff on here. I mean, this can be up to 8 sessions worth of stuff. I mean, so many different things can be going on in this orbital city of vampires. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through so you can see more. So you get to see 20 of the 78 pages and lots of stuff. I mean, look at that, the cool little artwork throughout. Yeah, I would definitely like to be a player and go through this experience because it just looks like a really fun place to have adventures, this sort of city of vampires. Um, yeah, and you could probably make it not an orbital city. You could probably have it grounded. Um, yeah, I think it could be anywhere you want. I mean, vampires are always fun, I think. So here's some hooks to get you into it. So let me read one of those. While adventuring as usual, the party discovers an ancient circular stone platform covered in strange glyphs, which happen to be vampire. While standing on it, they vanish in a flash of light, and then they appear at a random location in the starlit ruins of Ardveshti. The teleportation platform was an ancient vampire hunting trap to bring fresh food to the city of night. The party is the food. What will they do? So, yeah, I love that. I love that. That's a fun way. All of a sudden, you look, you're investigating something, you step on it, and before you know it, you're gone. And now you're going to be food for these vampires. So I love this. I always like Dungeon Age adventure stuff. Their layout is unique. Player choices matter, and it's very creative. So check it out. It's under Orbital Vampire City in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Pan, His Majesty in yellow, which was a Kickstarter, and it's a fairy tale horror campaign setting for 5th edition. And it's $20 for 70 pages, author Wayne Robert. And it's a fairy tale cosmic horror sandbox campaign setting that combines the lore of Peter Pan, Hastur, Neverland, and Carcosa into a strange and unique experience. It was like I said, a Kickstarter, and got lots of great reviews. You can check out some of these to see even more interiors. Read the back of it here, but yeah, it's really fun look to it. It reminds me of like an old storybook here that you might have had read to you by your parents. So they don't have a full-size preview, so we'll zoom in on the quick preview to kind of give you a look at it. But as I said, they have other links that you can click to see more of the interior. It really looks beautiful. Like when you see photos of it as a hardcover, it really truly looks beautiful. So definitely something I want to add to my collection at some point. So you've got planner traits here, weather on the islands, economy of the islands itself, what stones and who bowls, and then you get to see some of the locations. So let's see if we can read any of this. It's kind of hard to read in some of the smaller previews, but we'll see what we can do. So you got the Cheaters Channel. When Neverland's island started to fracture and transform, the northernmost reaches of the island broke away and formed the foundations for what is now what I can't read here. When the rift finally, let's see if I can zoom in even more. There we go. Broke away and formed the foundations for what is now Lake Hali. When the rift finally tore the island asunder, it did so during a grand battle between Pan and his lost children on one side, and an unusual alliance of pirates and Neverbirds on the other. Pan already thought the pirates and Neverbirds were fighting unfairly, having already captured half his forces, but decided emphatically that they must be cheating when he started getting the upper hand, only to have the pirates get away when the land fractured. The new sea channel that was created has borne its name ever since. It is a perilous passage to traverse by ship and falling rocks, Neverbirds, and frequent whirlpools. And then there's some seeds for adventure. It says a titanic and terrible crimson kraken has taken up residence in Cheater's Channel. It has attacked anyone that comes near it and has eaten a number of chronodile younglings that pass through. A chronodile is now on a rampage throughout the Neverborn Islands as it makes its way toward the Kraken for a titanic showdown. What does the Kraken want? Can anyone divert the chronodile's devastation? So yeah, interesting encounter. I like that they're including those hooks because that's going to make it easier to incorporate these different locations. Talks about the weather. It says a 3-mile bubble. The skies only appear as normal sky within 3 miles of the island shores, with the effect being invisible to anyone beyond this perimeter. In fact, anyone further than 3 miles from the Neverborn Islands will be unable to see anything other than a clear patch of black ocean over which hangs the eternal black void of the Neverland sky, where the mists and will-o'-wisps dare not encroach. Anyone within this bubble will be unable to see the black skies and mist beyond without magical aid, and then only within a few hundred yards. So very cool description of how like it might not be visible at all, or if you get close it looks kind of normal, and then you get inside and then you see, you know, they've got things like mysterious sky orbs and mercurial weather. It says Geist glass is a magical glass formed when lightning strikes beaches in or near the realm of the dead. Chunks of Geist glass can trap spirits and be used to enhance magic. Soul stones are chunks of spirit-filled Geist glass that allow their wielder to cast spells from them, sort of like a scroll. Obols are items that hold some emotional, psychic, or spiritual importance that are often traded as currency by spirits of the dead and extraplanar travelers. None of these items are necessary to run a campaign within the Neverborn Islands. Rules for all these items, as well as rules for madness, adventuring as a ghost, and more can be found in Memento Mori and Memento Vivere, which is a section probably later in the book, I'm guessing, but I don't know. And then it gives you the economy of the islands. I mean, there's just a lot of cool things going on. Here's a better look at the map, although it's a little pixelated because we're zoomed in. But you can see it's got really cool sort of structure to it. Yeah, I mean, this has gotten a lot of great reviews already. It's, you know, if you read these different things, it says, you know, it says a rare delight when I get to check out a tabletop game setting that is this fervent, that this fervently ignites the occult and esoteric side of my brain. So yeah, I love this sort of combination of Peter Pan, Hastur, Neverland, and Carcosa into one. I think that really could be something super interesting. And as I said, I've seen on social media some of the pictures of the hardcover, although you can't get the hardcover here yet. It does look like it's really gorgeous. So check it out. It's under Pan, His Majesty in yellow, and the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Secret of the Everflow from the DM Tool Chest, and it's on sale for $2.99, normally $4.99, and it's 11 pages for 5th edition. And it says it's an adventure for 3 to 5 characters of 5th to 7th level and optimized for 4 characters with an average party level of 6. A rebel faction has seized a peaceful monastery dedicated to the god of water. They seek the power of an ancient holy relic with legendary healing properties hidden within the temple's vault. The relic's power is the only thing keeping the nearby desert from encroaching even further. With only a few modifications and name changes, this adventure can be used in any existing campaign. Yeah, it looks really cool. It says the characters arrive at Everflow Monastery and discover a hostile sect of monks has taken it over. They meet a young acolyte named Tabitha, who survived the carnage by hiding outside during the attack. She tells them of the rebel monks led by Alexios, who took control of the monastery and killed dissenters. The characters must rescue the surviving monks and confront Alexios as they discover the truth behind the Everflow's secret. And so you get the NPC stat block, and of course you get the PDF adventure, and then you get VTT ready in both maps in both gridded and ungridded versions, as well as 6 VTT tokens. So I always enjoy that DM Tool Chest gives you like the PDF for you know, to use with Theater of the Mind or however you want to use it, print it out, but then the VTT combo with it. So that makes it really nice. So yeah, let's look inside. So fun artwork. Introduces you to this temple, and then you find out about the Nestorian monks, adventure hooks, arriving at the monastery, meeting the different characters, and then here's one of those maps. Look at how cool that looks. So detailed. You could find all this stuff in here, go through each of these rooms. It's going to look so nice on a VTT as well, I think, with all that detail. So let's read arriving at the monastery, the flavor text. It says, a cool wind blows down from the mountaintop above, carrying the sound of a dull roar that grows louder with each step forward. The road descends into a crevice filled with lush green foliage and pools of water surrounding a gleaming monastery. Twin glass-paneled towers flank the temple's marble edifice, and thick columns decorated with intricate patterns support arches covered in hanging gardens. Dozens of waterfalls cascade off the monastery's terraced walls and merge into a roaring river flowing down the mountainside. The arched gateway into the grounds appears unguarded, and a simple stone bridge leads into the monastery grounds. A rock suddenly strikes the ground at your feet, quickly followed by an angry whisper from a nearby tree. A young girl wearing loose-fitting clothing glares down at you from her hiding place among the branches. What are you dung eaters doing? Get off the god-stamped road before they see you. Are you trying to get killed? So interesting introduction, and you get to meet Tabitha and get some explanation of what's going on from Tabitha, and maybe take up the challenge to fix this sort of location that's been taken over by these monks and return it to normal, hopefully. Yeah, it seems really fun. There's background on the Nestorian monks. So it says Nestorian monks are dedicated to the god of water, Nestor, and believe in flowing through life in the same way a river runs downstream. While combative martial arts are frowned upon in some abbeys, such as Everflow Monastery, the monastic traditions of becoming one with the ways of water are still taught in remote schools. The monks are fond of loose-fitting clothing in blues and gold, commonly sleeveless to expose skin tanned from working under the sun. Male monks commonly shave their heads and are covered in intricate tattoos, while the females wear their hair in intricate braids wrapped in gold wire and decorated with charms. They use these charms and tattoos to tell a story about themselves to anyone who interprets their meanings. So very cool, very cool. Yeah, and even though they mentioned the god Nestor, you could convert that to any water god you want to use. Poseidon, or something from some other setting, or just use Nestor. Add Nestor to your pantheon. Maybe your pantheon isn't fleshed out, but that's the beauty of the DM tool chest stuff, is that it's flexible. It's not like, it has some lore, but it's not so much lore that it's overwhelming and that you're forced into using every little bit of it. It's really adaptable to whatever setting you've already got going on. And again, I think these maps are just going to be so beautiful on the VTT, because look at all this detail, the waterfalls, and you even interact with the waterfalls because you got 2A there on the map for one of them. Yeah, I love this, and I think it's great. For $2.99, you get everything. You get the tokens, the maps, the adventure PDF. So, I mean, just the maps alone could be expensive, so, and then these tokens even, it could be expensive. I've seen people pay $5 for one token. So I think getting 6 of them that you can use elsewhere. I mean, you don't have to just use them with this one adventure, right? Always a good value. So check it out. It's under Secret of the Everflow in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Excessive Excavations from One-Eyed Werebear, and it's $4.99 for 29 pages in 5th edition. It says a group of dwarven miners were expanding the ancestral burial chambers for the Silvercrag family when they stumbled into a hive of 𝙤𝙤𝙢. The horrid creatures immediately swarmed and attacked, killing or driving the miners off. Needing help, the Silvercrag clan has hired the players to take care of their bug problem and reclaim the burial chambers. Will the party succeed in clearing out the dwarven tomb, or will the tomb become theirs as well? So, Excessive Excavations is a 5th edition single-shot adventure optimized for 4 PCs between levels 3 to 5. You get 4 maps, full color, richly detailed, and ready for your virtual tabletop. 4 custom 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙀𝙁𝑒𝑔s, bring the hive to life. Custom magic items, modular narrative tools for extending the scenario beyond the tomb. A Game Master's toolkit for adjusting the adventure to meet the level of cunning and ferocity your players bring forth. And tokens for the custom creatures in the adventure. So very cool. I really like what I'm reading so far. So let's look inside and see what's going on. So 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙀𝑒𝑔s, they need more stat blocks, so I'm excited about that as well. So it's optimized for a party of 4th level characters, and it's estimated it'll take about 3 to 4 hours to complete the adventure. So it says, a group of miners were expanding a tomb, adding a new level beneath the existing catacombs. This tomb, the ancestral burial chambers for the Silvercrag family, already houses several generations of dwarves, with the tomb being added to over time. Successive burial chambers became more ornate as the family amassed wealth. The latest level was built to be the resting place for Cillian, built by his daughter Himilda, who had recently been appointed to the nobility. The excavations, however, came close to a lair of 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙢𝙢, who burrowed into the burial chamber and attacked the miners. It's the PC's job to clear out the tomb of any hostiles, or maybe they just heard about it happening and decided it was an opportunity to raid the place. So running the adventure gives you the background, and then here's that tomb. So yeah, really, really cool. Look at it. I mean, you're going to get lost in some of these areas. That's nice. You got to keep track of where you're going. Somebody better be on map duty. So the entrance chamber, it says the set of double doors opens into the first chamber of the tomb, is a large rectangular chamber, the final resting place of the first 8 members of the Silvercrag clan to settle in the area. An array of sarcophagi are arranged in the chamber, made of granite and carved in fine likenesses of the deceased. The walls and the floors of the tomb are sturdy plain granite. And so then there's a blade trap you have to deal with, and then you can see 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤 worker is one of the stat blocks. So again, you're going to get 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤 worker, 𝙤𝙤𝙢 spitters in here as well. So that's going to give you multiple 𝙤𝙤𝙢 options to use outside of this adventure. So again, we always like to think about, if I buy this book, what else am I going to get to use it for once I run the adventure or whatever, right? So this particular one, you're going to get those extra 𝙤𝙤𝙢 stat blocks, so that if you want to have some sort of other situation with 𝙤𝙤𝙢s, you've got that. You've got the ochre jelly chamber. Unlike all other doors on this level, the door to this room is undisturbed, and a player giving the door a closer look will immediately notice that the edges of the door are also sealed with wax. It says, as you crack the wax seal and breach the door, you reveal a large burial chamber. It was clearly originally finely done. However, the walls and sarcophagi have been ruined by a thick viscous substance, etching and pitting their surfaces. Reacting to the movement of the door opening, the substance flows and oozes and coalesces. So yeah, you're going to have ochre jelly to deal with, which is fun. Other blade traps in here. So yeah, you're going to have to navigate carefully and deal with the Baroness Hamilda Silvercrag. I mean, fun times. I really like this. I think it's fun. You know, you got dwarven stuff, you've got 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙢, you've got ochre jellies, and all coming together in this really cool setting with a fun map as well. So check it out. It's under Excessive Excavations, and the link's below. Give it a click. Well, that was our last new release for one of the sites. Before we move on to the second site, a few announcements for you. First of all, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave us a comment. All those things help us get the word out. More people find the videos and get to know about all these great releases if you can do that. And I'll respond to all comments personally. If you can click those links in the video description and support all these awesome creators that we featured this week, that really helps them. This business is tough, so you want to help encourage them to stay in it and creating these awesome titles for you to enjoy and bring to your table. And if you click any of those links and make a purchase, even if we didn't talk about it today, it's going to help support the channel through a small affiliate fee. So we really appreciate it when you do your shopping with us. That's awesome. And if you really want to take it to the next level to support us, you can purchase one of our books. You can go to splinterverse.com to read more about all of those, or click the links in the video description in the section we have on our books. And I'll just tell you about a few of them here now. So our latest one is the Dragonlance Companion. It's 180 pages for DMs and players to really get into Krynn. Everything from subclasses to races, including classic ones like Draconians and Half-Ogres and Thanoi, as well as 2 full-blown adventures, a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 that you can link together for a full campaign. We've got monsters, magic items, encounters, new types of items like legacy items, and even herald items that are connected to the gods, which we profile in massive detail so that you can use the piety system to really interact with the gods. So there's just so much to be found in there for Dragonlance and Krynn if you're into that, or if you want to take these things and put them in another setting, of course. And it's available in print as hardcover or digital, or you can get both for this combo price, where there's no extra charge for the digital. So that's always very cool. Then we've also got Swarms of the Multiverse, which is over 180 pages dedicated to brand new monsters that have some sort of connection to swarms, whether it's they form swarms, they summon swarms, or they control swarms. Each of the 70 new monsters in this book have some sort of connection, and we give them lots of space in the book. Each monster gets a minimum of 2 pages, so you get lots of lore, you get tactics, you get a playlist of the moves that they would use on their stat blocks. So if you want to quickly run it without reading too much, you can just go through the playlist. We've also got associated things like magic items that are connected to some of the creatures, demiplanes, full demiplanes that you can explore with some of these creatures as well. Then we've got rules for you to create your own swarms that are balanced for 5th 5th edition, so that's really helpful. And then we have other types of swarms, like environmental swarms that don't even have hit points, but are more like hazards or puzzles that your party will have to pass through on their way to whatever the next adventure is. So tons and tons of stuff to really bring swarms to life and help you make a swarm out of any creature, whether it's third party or an official Wizards release. You'll be able to confidently make those swarms using those balanced rules. And again, it's print or digital. Then we've also got our platinum bestsellers here with the Feywild Companion, which is over 150 pages devoted to the Feywild, the plane where everything is Fey, and it's really a fun place to explore. It's a little bit different than the material plane, so you can have a really unique experience that kind of turns things on its head. And this fits well with Wild Beyond the Witchlight or any other Fey experience that you want to have. It's got player subclasses, one for each class that connects to the Fae. It's got magic items, races, lineages. It's even got trinkets, a new type of item called Flowers of the Feywild, which is a new consumable that helps you really feel like you've gone to a fantastical place. But these flowers can be used as a consumable item or like an environmental hazard, which is fun. We got a brand new Domain of Delight with a beautifully illustrated map in the same style as the one in Wild Beyond the Witchlight for Prismeer. We've got full adventures, encounters, monsters. I mean, it's just jam-packed. VTT tokens, all that stuff if you buy the digital, but it's also available in print as well. So you're going to want to check that out. Then there's also our other platinum bestseller, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets. It's devoted to dragons. It's meant to tie into Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, but it can be used on its own. So you've got dragon-themed subclasses, one for each class. You've got trinkets. You've got magic items, you've got Hoard magic items, draconic gifts. So those things that are in Fizban's, we're expanding and giving you more. So you have more draconic gifts and more Hoard magic items. You get a brand new familiar, adventure hooks to tie everything together from the DM point of view, so you can make those subclasses NPCs or whatever you want to do. So it's really, really good. It's going to be a hardcover soon. So by the time you watch this, it might already be a hardcover. So you can get the hardcover and or the digital as well. Then we've got our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, which is devoted to the new concept of lineages that was introduced in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. And it's really fun. It makes your race basically something very personal to you, because lineages are something that is sort of thrust upon your character. It's not how you were born. It's an experience that you've gone through, and it's changed you. And so these are very conflict-driven lineages, suitable for any setting, not just Ravenloft. Got 4 of those in there, and then we've got optional rules on how to string those together, so you can go from one lineage to the next, or you can remove a lineage if there's some reason you want to go back to the original race, or just for story purposes you want to remove it. You have that option with this book. And then we've got Potions Unlocked, which is print or digital, and it's over 100 pages, and it's really devoted to taking potions, which are kind of a run-of-the-mill thing where you just say, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, and make them fun again. It's got optional rules for taste, smell, overdosing on these potions, how to craft the potions. Even with the 30 new potions in here with really cool artwork, we've gone and given you really in-depth origin stories for each of them, that you can have a vendor relate to the players, or you can turn it into an encounter if you want to have the players be responsible for the creation of some of these potions. We even have potion-themed locations, including a potion shop with 2 different stories and a whole set of maps, so you can go to each of the layers of the potion shop, different vendors that are profiled with full inventory lists, a school where you can learn to craft potions and experience the various encounters and adventures. And then we've got magical plants and things that you can craft, harvest and craft your potions with. So tons and tons of stuff. The whole point of the Potions Unlocked, or any of the unlocked titles that we're going to do, is to really take something and take it to its limit, give you everything you could ever want, to be the authority on that topic almost, and just really deep dive. Our Swarms book is the same thing. It's anything you could ever want on Swarms. So if you're getting these books, we feel like you're going to have everything you could ever ask for that topic, and that's our goal for you, because we really want the money to go as far as it can, because we do try to keep our prices reasonable, and then by giving you everything we can, we're helping you have that for far into the future, you're going to have the ability to, have potions or swarms or whatever our topic is, come to your aid at your table. So we hope you'll support us and check out all these awesome titles. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or anywhere if you're interested and unsure. I'm always here to help you. But no matter what, I hope you're clicking links, supporting creators, whether it's us or the others out there, because this is an awesome industry. We're so proud to be part of the ttrpg space, and we appreciate you. So now let's move on to the other site and their new releases. Our first DM's Guild title is Divine Blessings Ilmater from 𝘬𝙁 and Apocalypse, suggested price of $1.99 for 5 pages. And this is a series that aims to provide knowledge about the gods and the items they might leave behind, providing a story of the gods, their journeys, trials, and where they are now. Throughout their lives, they have provided blessings in the forms of weapons, armors, and various trinkets. Taking inspiration from their stories, the authors create items that feel like a part of the deity, whether they be relics found or an artifact bestowed to a champion. The broken god Ilmater is the deity responsible for perseverance, mercy, and compassion. He stands for those suffering, doing all in his power to grant relief from life's turmoils. Where people are oppressed and in agony, Ilmater and his followers will soon be. They're seeking to relieve those in pain, even at the expense of themselves. So should you choose to follow in Ilmater's path, know that accepting the burdens and suffering of others is a responsibility you take on. Heal and protect the innocent, even if you must put your life in danger. In doing so, one may find great boons in Ilmater's service, items to protect both yourself and others, healing the wounded, or taking on the ailments from others onto yourself. So, as usual with this series, you're getting really good lore for a particular god, along with boons and items and various things that you can use to help bring that god into your campaign. So looking inside, you get to see pretty much the whole book here. You get that intro that we talked about, which gives you all the details of Ilmater and just everything you need to really flesh out that deity. Then you get those magic items here that can be bestowed upon followers or adherents or just somebody who helps Ilmater, perhaps. Then you have a character named 𝙈𝙗 the Wise here in the end, and it says 𝙈𝙗 rose from humble beginnings to become an archmage and arcane scholar of Candlekeep. He was a prodigy in his youth, earning the moniker the Wise due to his education on countless topics. Rumor has it that 𝙈𝙗 owns a magical grimoire filled with the lost knowledge, but no one knows what it looks like. He currently serves as an arcane forge master and is a professor of magical binding and magical research. He has not left Candlekeep in almost a decade, but during his youth, he traveled to Cormyr and Waterdeep and many other places, including several planes. 𝙈𝙗 is a patient teacher and is willing to share his knowledge with those he deems worthy, provided that it won't be used for evil. He's often sought out by adventurers when they find something magical of unusual origin, such as an item that resists magical identification. In return for his assistance, 𝙈𝙗 is interested in new or forgotten knowledge and magic items. So this seems to be maybe a character that relates to all of the deities, and that 𝙈𝙗 might have knowledge about them. But a good resource for the characters, a good NPC. But let's look at some of the items that are covered in here as well. So let me find one. The Sash of the Divine Healer sounds interesting, and that's right here. It says it's very rare, requires attunement by a bard, cleric, or druid. You have resistance to necrotic damage. When you cast a spell with your bonus action, you may still cast a spell of first level or higher with your action, as long as both spells target only you or your allies. While wearing the spell, you can use an action to cast one of the following spells using your spellcasting ability modifier: Heroism, I should say. Prayer of Healing and Beacon of Hope are the spells. Once the belt has been used to cast a spell, it cannot be used to cast the same spell again until you finish a long rest. So you get some nice spells from that, and they seem, to fit the concept of, a healing god, somebody that wants to help people. All three of those are very helpful spells for others. And then we've got, let's find another one here to read. So we got the Eternal Bond. It's rare, requires attunement. These platinum rings appear to be rings of protection, except they are always created in pairs. You gain a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws while wearing this ring. When two creatures are attuned to and wearing paired rings, their souls are bound together. Each time one of you takes damage from an attack or spell, the other may choose to share the injury. If they do, each of you takes half of the original damage instead. You can use an action to cast the Locate Object spell, but it will always lead you to the person wearing the other ring. The ring can't be used this way again until you finish a long rest, or a short rest. So, yeah, I like that. That's interesting. It's got, bonus to your AC, and then it connects you to another player where you guys can sort of share damage and help find each other through Locate Object. So I like that. Pretty cool. And that's just a little bit. We didn't read everything, and it's a suggested price, so you can pay $0, check it out, and then come back and pay more. I definitely encourage you to pay something. I know Z-Rave and Apocalypse work hard on this series. They've covered a lot of gods in it. So you definitely want to keep them going by supporting them with some payment here in this suggested price. So check it out. It's in the links below under Divine Blessings Ilmater. Give it a click. Next we have Every Breath You Take, which is an adventure for the Adventure League, and it has sort of the numbers that they normally have. So SJDC, because it's a Spelljammer one, and it's a 4-hour adventure for tier 3 characters optimized for average party level of 14, and it's $4.99 for 38 pages, and it's for Spelljammer. So if you're looking for an adventure to take into Adventures League to showcase Spelljammer, or you want to adapt it outside of Adventure League, minor changes you'd need to make it work outside of Adventures League. But it says writing on a Spelljammer isn't as glamorous as people make out, especially when your ship gets sabotaged. It's time to find out who did it and why. So it's an exciting standalone adventure that showcases some of the wonders of Spelljammer with an engaging and accessible story, beautiful battle maps and art, and some original music to set the mood. The adventure features a wide variety of gameplay, challenging combat, and enough intrigue to keep things interesting for every party. It is the first adventure in a trilogy and takes place in wild space, used in other adventures from the talented community of Trident Games. There's even a 14-page setting guide included, which provides additional lore and hooks that allow you to carry on your own stories if you'd like to. So you get the core adventure, guidance, and additional material to enhance combat and roleplay, 2 battle maps, art for all the NPCs, stat blocks for 4 spelljamming ships, and a printer-friendly version, as well as 3 looped music tracks, 2 for combat and 1 for exploration, and a 14-page setting guide for to use to just kind of make a complete setting, because it's part of Trident Games here. So Mike is the author, and Trident Games is also the publisher, and Trident Games is like a collective of creators, right? So they kind of share the setting, which is cool. So it says the characters start aboard a ship in Treya space, headed to a scientific outpost, the observatory. Several other groups are aboard the ship. Some have interesting stories to tell, others have good jokes. The ship takes a turn when it gets dropped out of spelljamming due to sabotage. The characters have some time to try and right the ship before long space sharks attack while the perpetrators get away. And then there's a rescue. An underground group of rebels sends a vessel to rendezvous with the characters. They provide a ride, but the characters aren't going to be let go without going in front of their council on a nearby planetoid. So, a number of things going on. And then you can see this cool map down here for the Treya wild space. So it shows you some of the different points of interest, including the observatory, the refinery, Ninton, wormhole, etc. So pretty cool. Let's look inside. You get to see 2 of the 38 pages here, so it gives you background overview, the adventure hooks, which we'll look at in a second, and the welcome aboard. So let's read some of the adventure hooks. So it says the adventure starts aboard a passenger transport ship traveling to the observatory below, or some suggestions as to why they might be making the journey, but players may also be encouraged to explain their own reasons. So they have 4 different Options, we'll just read a couple of them. Academic interest, you have finally been able to secure a ticket for a rare opportunity to look through the telescope at the observatory. The chance to catch a glimpse of inside another wild space is too intriguing to pass up. So yeah, that's interesting, and you can connect to other spaces out there, because with Spelljammer you got to keep in mind that each of the settings is basically in a space. So there's Krynn space for Dragonlance, there's realm space for Forgotten Realms, etc. So getting to look into another one could be like a kind of a not a premonition, but almost like a foreshadowing of what your next adventure is going to be, because maybe you're going to adventure in Spelljammer up to a certain level, and then you're going to go on to realm space or something. Another one is, what do you buy for the adventurer who has everything? The shopping concourse at the observatory is renowned for having all sorts of curiosities that can't be found anywhere else in the system. So why not? Yeah, so that'd be fun to explore that. And then they have a couple more, so I'll let you read those on your own. But it says Traya space is well populated with many humanoid and other races. There are 3 main planets governed by a ruling class of astral elves based on Mungo. A map of Traya space is provided, and yeah, so you get to find out all about it. But it says Traya space is so cold that even momentary exposure can result in frostburn. Any creature that has their personal air envelope in direct contact with Traya space at any point on their turn must immediately make a DC Con saving throw, taking 22 cold damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. So yeah, it's a little bit of a different space, and as I said, there's a map in there showing the whole Traya space. So yeah, could be fun to explore this very interesting and different and new space in wild space, because Spelljammer really opens up the possibilities. As I said, you can go to realm space, Krynn space, whatever space you want, and then you can also make your own or use third-party spaces like Traya space here to really make it feel like you're traveling through the stars, going to different worlds, and mixing it up. So I think that's one of the best benefits of Spelljammer, and this adventure showcases that. So you need to look for it in the links below under every breath you take and give it a click. All right, next we have Mystic Ink, which is all about magic tattoos and a tattoo parlor. It's from Duncan Rhodes and Hipsters and Dragons. It's $2 for 11 pages. It says it's the pop-up tattoo parlor of a wood elf warlock who wanders the plains, offering her services to anyone rich enough to afford them. A talented tattoo artist, she is able to harness the fey power inherent in all creatures, capturing it via their image and fusing it with the life force of her clients. She has a tattoo book of 16 types of tattoos, many of which are available in different sizes, with larger ones conferring more powers. So it builds on those tattoos that were in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, but detaches them from the magic needle mechanic that converted these tattoos into magic items and offers them instead as a service, giving players with enough gold choice and control over their body art and a selection of powers to complement their build. So you get classic tattoo types like dragon, angel, wolf, etc., using mostly familiar mechanics. And then you get a 2-page handout that you can give to players that includes non-meta information about each tattoo's powers along with prices of each. So yeah, that'd be cool too. You can give this handout to the players, and then they can kind of feel like they're in the tattoo shop, kind of figuring out what they want. It's like a menu of the options without giving too much away. So very cool. And then you also have a location to go back to for whatever reason. Maybe there's somebody there that has information, or maybe there's a suspect in a mystery that you're trying to find, right? And one of the things you noticed was that they have a tattoo, and so you send the characters to Mystic Ink to say, do you recall giving anybody a tattoo that looks like this? And then that kind of opens up the identity of the suspect, and maybe while you're there they decide to get tattoos, whatever, right? There's so many ways to work a tattoo parlor into a setting, whether it's a big settlement, a small settlement, whatever. So I always like books like this that give you a location within a settlement, because you can really never have enough of those on hand. Players are going to ask for weird things, So if they say, "Oh, is there any place that does tattoos?" I mean, just having this book for $2, you can say, "Well, there happens to be one. It's called Mystic Ink," and away you go. So it says it's a mobile tattoo parlor run by a gray-haired wood elf sorceress called Lhuvenhead Delverin. And it talks about, kind of what the parlor looks like. And it says a warlock of the Archfey with an incandescent bronze dragon tattoo that covers the bark-like skin of her back and ranges up both her arms. And she also has a small phoenix tattoo on her ankle. In colder climes, she wears thick robes with decorated with leaves, while in summer she prefers to wear a light backless chiffon dress and dozens of simple bangles made out of leather, wood, and bone, and opaque semi-precious stones. So that's great. You know kind of what she dresses like in 2 different seasons, so you can kind of show that over time. And then it talks about like how much area is covered by the different tattoos based on the rarity, the time required, and the price. And then the process goes through all of that, and then it starts getting into some of the tattoos. So we'll look at a couple of those in a second. But I want to scroll first so you can kind of see some of the images. So you've got this sort of phoenix down here, and then this eagle. So you can see kind of some ideas, a bear tattoo. So yeah, let's look at the bear tattoo. That's a cool one. It says the wondrous item tattoo, common to rare, requires attunement. The powers of a bear tattoo are determined by its rarity. The rare tattoos feature all the powers of the less rare tattoos. So yeah, if you get a rare one, you're going to get all 4 of these abilities. So bear endurance, your constitution score increases by 1. Bear stamina, you have advantage on con saving throws. Bear skin, you gain resistance to cold damage. And then bear hug, other creatures have disadvantage to escape your grapples. When you successfully grapple a creature your size or smaller, using both hands, you may use a melee attack to deal 2d6 plus your strength mod of bludgeoning damage per round to that creature. So yeah, very reminiscent of things that you would expect from a bear. They deal with the winter through hibernation, so the cold damage makes sense. They've got a good constitution, they're big and strong, and they grapple, deal bludgeoning damage and stuff. So pretty cool to see that going on. The bear hug, grappling connection is cool. And you've got common all the way to rare, like I said, so you could just get a common one if you only have the money for that, and it gives you just the con score increase. But if you want to spend all the money to get up to rare, you get that cold resistance and the bear hug feature. So pretty cool. Let's look at another one here. Let's look at the eagle tattoo, since we have the image for that as well. So common to very rare. The powers of an eagle tattoo are determined by its rarity. So speed of the eagle, your walking speed increases by 5 feet if you do the common one. And then the uncommon swoop of the eagle, when you move at least 20 feet in a straight line towards an opponent, you gain advantage on your first attack roll against the target. And then you get giant eagle shape. As an action, you may transform into a giant eagle. The feature is governed by the same rules as the druid's wild shape ability, but once used, you must finish a long rest before using the ability again. So that's cool. When you get to the rarer level, you can transform into an eagle, a giant eagle, and then eagle glide, very rare. When you extend your arms, you are able to safely glide to a point below you. You take no damage from falls greater than 20 feet, landing on your feet, provided you are able to take reactions. You may descend at an angle of no greater than 45 degrees. And then deadly swoop, also very rare. When you move at least 20 feet in a straight line towards a creature, you may deal an extra 2d6 damage of the weapon's type if you hit with your first attack. If that 20 feet was a downward trajectory, the damage increases to 46. So yeah, you get some good options here at the eagle. Definitely seems like it fits too with the gliding and the swooping, with resembles the animal and what it can do as well. And so that's a very rare. So that would be 20,000 gold pieces to make that happen, to get all those abilities. But maybe somebody, patron or somebody, benefactor, gives you this as a reward for a mission. I'll give you a magical tattoo if you help me with something. Maybe even Lhuvenhead Delverin needs something, maybe ingredients for the tattoo ink, or needs protection to travel somewhere, and in exchange will give you a very rare tattoo or just a rare one, whatever. So fun stuff. Always love seeing more tattoos because, you know, Wizards has only done really one book on it, and so expanding that mechanic is pretty cool. So check it out. It's under Mystic Inc. in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have the latest issue in the Recharged series from Adam Hancock, and this one is focused on the Princes of the Apocalypse book from Wizards of the Coast, and the price is $2.95 for 19 pages. And you know, it's we've talked about this series last week. Basically, you know, there's only a few stat blocks in a lot of these books that have a recharge ability on the creatures, and recharge abilities are really fun because they're powerful and they're different and they don't happen every turn, right? And so Adam has put together the series going book by book to give recharge abilities to all the stat blocks as an option. And as I've talked about with this and other similar series on weaknesses and blood conditions and stuff, this is a great way to tune the monster as you're playing, because maybe you start out, it doesn't have this recharge ability, and you realize, oh gosh, it's underpowered or it's overpowered, so I need to change it. And so using these kinds of series of books, you can tune on the fly rather than having a disappointing encounter. And you can also take a lot of these abilities and put them on your own custom creatures, depending on the ability. Some are heavily, you know, tied to the creature, but a lot of them would work on new creatures as well. So inspiration. But in this case, there's 171 rechargeable special abilities, one for each Princes of Apocalypse creature that doesn't already have one. And they're appropriate to the creature's temperament and ecology, and often pair well with one or more of the creature's other abilities. So that's really cool that you've got those options. And there's bundles already coming together for the past editions of Recharge, so you can start getting those. So to get 4 different ones, it's only $5.42, and you can get to that bundle through our link in the video description as well. But let's look inside. So you get to see 6 of those 19 pages. So it gives you kind of a list of all the creatures in Princes of the Apocalypse, including some from, you know, the monster manual that are reprint, you know, references basically. So you can get to those as well, but we'll find a couple to look at here. But you can see how it's organized. It gives you kind of the heading and then gives you the recharge abilities. So looking at the Cloaker, it says improve damage, transfer, recharge 5/6. If the Cloaker is attached to a creature until the start of the Cloaker's next turn, the Cloaker takes none of the damage dealt to it, while the creature grappled by the Cloaker takes all of the damage. So it's different than what you would normally expect from a Cloaker, right? It's going to have some damage transfer going on, and that could be a little bit disorienting or unusual to a player that's maybe used to dealing with a Cloaker. And then you've got the Black Earth Priest. So the Black Earth Priest gets 2 special abilities. One is Fanatic Words, recharge 5/6. The priest gives a fanatical shout to each of their allies within 30 feet who can hear them. The targets each immediately recharge their special ability. This ability can't be recharged by the fanatic words of other creatures. And then the second one is Shatter Earth, recharge 6. The priest makes 2 melee attacks. They then strike the ground as a bonus action. If the ground within 30 feet of the priest is loose earth or stone, it becomes difficult terrain until cleared, with each 5-foot diameter portion requiring at least 1 minute to clear by hand. So that's fun. That's a fun little ability to, you know, hit the ground, and then it causes difficult terrain surrounding the Black Earth Priest. And it fits with the name too, I think. So yeah, and that's 2 options, right? And one of those interacts with other recharge abilities. So it could be really interesting to see how that plays out when you have a bunch of characters going on in the same area. Yeah, I think these are fun, you know, and things are the Bullet, the Burrow Shark, Cloud Giant, Crushing Wave Priest. I mean, very thorough. Everything's covered. If it doesn't have a recharge ability already, it's recharged here in this book for combination with Princes of the Apocalypse. Or as I said, you can pluck some of these out and put them on other creatures that you've created or creatures from other books. So very valuable series. I think you need to grab it. It's in the links below under Recharged. Give it a click. Next we have Red Flag Flying by Peter Sprunk, and it's a suggested price of $5 for 68 pages. And it says Port 𝘏𝙤𝙤 on 𝘏𝙤𝙤 Island is known for the hunting of whales. Most of the whaling industry is in the hands of the Tri-Whale Company, which established a research facility on the island where 5 mages are working on secret innovations to increase company profits. Lately, however, contact with the research facility has been lost, and one of the mages who visited the port has disappeared as well. The characters have been sent to the island to investigate. During their time on the island, the characters may explore a cave system to find the missing mage, visit the ruins of a rich mansion infested by critters, and ultimately uncover the fate of the mages at the research facility, which may lead them into a dark and dangerous place. Optionally, they may go on an underwater salvage mission and find out what is causing the increase of ships running into docks near the island. So it's a short campaign for a party of 4 or 5 characters. The characters start at first level and they can end the adventure at 3rd level. So pretty cool. Let's take a look inside. Oh, also I should mention that you get, not only do you get the PDF adventure, but you get the Fantasy Grounds module with it, which is pretty cool because normally on DM's Guild you have to pay for those separately, right? So getting those together is really cool. And if you're watching this, Peter, I would highlight that more because it's just in this bottom sentence here, and I almost missed it. So I think it's a really good selling point. Maybe put it in bold. Maybe include, there's icons for PDF and Fantasy Grounds, so you could put both those either as icons on the cover or icons on the page to kind of get people an awareness of the fact that you're giving both, because that's unusual. I think it's the first time we've covered that here on the channel. You'll see bundles where the two are bought together, but never just as a default option, and I think that's awesome. So especially for a suggested price. Anyway, you get to see almost the whole book here because it's like half of it. I guess I shouldn't say whole book, but you get to see a good chunk of it because you get to 27 pages. So that to me is significant as well because you're getting to see so much. I mean, we're just scrolling through real fast here, and you can see this ship plan. You can see a lot of flavor text to read aloud to the party. You got important NPCs. Fun little map here of one of the locations. So yeah, I'm just doing a quick scroll through so you can see they got various maps in here. One thing I'm not sure of, but I'm guessing it's true, is whether the maps are available separately as files. Since there's Fantasy Grounds, I'm guessing you can get them in the Fantasy Grounds separately so you can play on them, but that might be something to add to this description, Peter. But it looks like it's broken down, the adventure's broken down into 4 parts, and then at the end you get magic items, NPC and monster stats, as well as handouts. So very cool. So it says the characters may have their own reasons for visiting Port 𝘏𝙤𝙤. If all of them do, and they travel to the island of their own accord after their arrival, they can be contacted by an employee from the Tri-Whale Company offices to send them on the first part of the quest. But the most direct adventure hook is the characters visiting Luskan, and they're being hired by Samantha 𝘎𝙤𝙢, a female human who works for Jason Tri-Whale. 𝘎𝙢𝙢 is looking for a team of adventurers willing to travel to the port, and she tells the characters that the Tri-Whale has mages working for him on the island, but they are no longer reporting in. So you have to investigate that. And then, yeah, you get a list of quite a few people that you might meet throughout the pages. And then you've got your fast start with a really cool intro here. Lengthy, nice read aloud. And then you get meeting 𝘎𝙢𝙢, and then 𝘎𝙢𝙢's assignment, and then interrogating 𝘎𝙢𝙢 to get a lot of info here, it looks like. But let's read about travel on the Moonbow. Or Moonbow, I'm not sure which way that's pronounced. It says, in the harbor, you ask a sailor for the Moonbow and are directed to a dock at the harbor's south end where the Moonbow is being prepared for its voyage to 𝘏𝙤𝙤 Island. The Moonbow is a schooner with 2 masts and the fore and aft rig sails. She carries 3 whaleboats, of which 2 hang from the sides and 1 hangs at the aft end. The deck is empty apart from an aft cabin. The hold appears to be mostly empty as the ship is lying high in the water. The captain welcomes you on board grudgingly and then hands you over to a crew member. The crew member takes you into the hold, where he provides each of you with a hammock, which you can fasten to one of the many beams in the hold as a place to sleep. You are told that the trip to Port Krilmir will take 5 days, so you better make yourself comfortable. Early in the morning, the Moonbow leaves the harbor and sails out to the open sea. So yeah, it's a nice intro to a ship. Gives you a feel for the setting. You know all about the layout and what's in the hold versus not. It looks like there's a whale sighting and then a whale hunt. So that's cool. Get some sort of Moby Dick vibes going. You've got sort of a map here of the Moonbow and the sort of other boats that are attached to it, which is cool. And then you got the port information. I mean, there's just a lot here. I love this little map of the port as well. So here's your bait and tackle. I mean, I think this is going to be a pretty well put together in terms of you're going to need very little prep because it looks like it's super detailed on what you have available to you. And as I said, it comes with Fantasy Grounds already as part of the purchase on a suggested price. So I think this could be really fun way to start a new campaign. I like the artwork on the front, and the artwork of the maps is fun as well. So I hope you look for it in the video description. Links is under red flag flying, and give it a click. Next, we have Snow Golem Stats from our fellow YouTuber Game Masters, and it's a suggested price of $0, but you know, Game Masters does great stuff, so I would definitely put something in there as you go to purchase it. But it says, perfect for a cold wintry season. This document provides basic Snow Golem stats for your players to battle against. I love this picture of the Snow Golem, but looking inside, you get to see kind of the history of it, some fun pictures of it, and then the stat block. It's, as I said, a CR5, originating from a twisted mage's sense of slight, perhaps from not getting what they felt they should have for some winter holiday. The Snow Golem was created by a dark magic bringing a common snowman to life. They are quick to anger but hide in plain sight, preferring to play tricks on the would-be traveler. They can be disguised as a simple pile of snow or as an elaborate snowman. And so you've got Frosty Blast, recharge 5 to 6. The Snow Golem exhales an icy blast in a 10-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a con saving throw, taking cold damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. So yeah, perfect. Makes sense that it would blast you with frosty, damage and give you this sort of icy blast and make you feel like you've just gone through a blizzard. It's also got Snow Fight, which does cold damage as well, and it's a ranged weapon attack, and then it's got a Slam for melee. So yeah, this could be a fun little winter creature, whether you want to do like a holiday themed. I know we just finished the holidays, but it's still winter, so you can have the Snow Golem coming out in sort of a wintry area, like even Rime of the Frost Maiden, or anywhere that you might have some snow, because golems, I think, are always great. I love the golems and all the different types that there are, so having a snow one is another cool option. And another fun thing from Game Masters, if you're not subscribed to his channel, you should definitely do that on YouTube. Lots of good videos there as well. So check it out. It's under Snow Golem Stats in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Spirit of Blackburn Peak by Ryan Johnson. It says, stabilize powerful forces in this fiery adventure. And it's $2.99 for 14 pages. It says, the forgotten is not lost, a gem of great power. The spirit ember once fueled the forges of a mighty and luxurious mountain kingdom. Ruin came in the form of a volcanic eruption that not only spewed cinder and ash, but malignant magic as well. The kingdom was lost and in time forgotten. Recent volcanic activity, however, worries scholars that a new doom may be near. Can the heroes extinguish the evil fueling destruction before it is too late? So it's a great 1 or 2 shot adventure for you and your group. There's 3 fierce customized monsters, including the Ember Elemental's boss monster. And yeah, it sounds like a fun time. Let's look inside. So gives you advice on running the adventure, and it's broken into 2 chapters, and then the monsters are at the end here. It gives you background, and then you get right into it. Very nice layout, resembles Wizards, and great artwork to go along with everything, including a really beautiful map here at the end. Of at least the end of the preview, we're seeing about half the book here, so there's a lot more to the book. But yeah, lots of flavor text for each of the areas as well, which I appreciate. But there's this whole section here called Herring Heights. It says a rickety rope bridge sways roughly 1,000 feet above where the characters stand. To reach it, they need to traverse a steep and rocky series of switchbacks. To win this skill challenge, the characters need to accumulate 3 successes before 3 failures. The DC for each check is 14, and each character must attempt a check before any character attempts their second check. A character can use any skill they wish as long as they can justify its use to you, the DM. Once a character has used a skill for this challenge, they cannot use the same skill again, although another character may. Upon completion of the challenge, the characters reach the top of the climb, and you read the following aloud. The bridge ahead is a little more than a series of wooden planks with a few lengths of rope tying them together. The construction shifts and groans from the slightest breeze, and most of the steps look worn and splintered. It's hard to tell how old the bridge is, or the last time it was serviced, or even if it's ever been serviced at all. If the characters win the skill challenge, they feel invigorated from the climb and are riding high on their success. Grant each character inspiration or some other benefit of your choice. If the characters fail the skill challenge, they suffered a long and arduous ascent. Have one of the characters roll a d20 and consult the consequences table. So they can be rubbed raw. Your armor weighs heavy on you and rubs in all the wrong places. Each character subtracts 1 from their AC until they finish a long rest. Or they can be weak and woozy, sapped of strength, and ready to kick off your boots and collapse. Each character suffers 1 level of exhaustion, and there's another option that I'll let you read on your own. But yeah, that's a fun little skill challenge. And then they have, this watch your step. Looks like a skill challenge as well. And I'm really loving the artwork, especially in this. It looks so great and very well laid out in sort of wizard style. So let's read one of the flavor texts here for one of the rooms. So it says, kennel, beyond the threshold, opens a chamber with short cages lining every wall. A fetid smell like dirty wet dog hangs in the air. Black iron grids divide cells from one another, their doors hanging open haphazardly. Clay bowls, some cracked or shattered, litter the open part of the stone floor. Within the dozen or more cages sprawl the bones of canines left abandoned. So anyone entering the room stirs the malignant magic presence in this place. The bones on the floor begin to shift and come together, creating 3 skeletal dogs. In life, these dogs guarded and protected the entrance, alerting those further in of any unannounced company. Today, they attack the characters, recognizing them as intruders. So you have some skeleton-looking dogs that you're going to have to deal with when you get into space 2 here on the map. So that's right here on the left of the map. Very cool. I think this is fun. So beautifully laid out. So easy to read. So looking forward to more from Ryan. And this one is called Spirit of Blackburn Peak. So look for it in the links below and give it a click. All right, next we have Stunt, a daring martial class that loves to take risks by Nicholas 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙤. And it is $4.99 for 12 pages. It says, thrill seekers, risk takers, and daredevils. There's a breed of person who lives on the edge. Among those rare few, some take on a life of adventure. The Stunt is a mobile martial class meant to maneuver around the battlefield to strike in dazzling and dangerous ways. Built on risk-reward mechanics and special vehicle combat, players are encouraged to come up with creative and dynamic means of employing their abilities. Alongside the base mechanics are 5 subclasses, each focusing on different vehicular themes. So this seems kind of more for like a modern setting, but I'm not sure whether it also works with fantasy. I guess it would depend on whether you have vehicles. So, if you're playing in like a Kaladesh situation, or maybe, Eberron with their trains and things, you might be able to work it in there, or like I said, modern. So you've got The Mad Motorist, a brute force subclass that knocks down the enemy. You've got the Extreme, a tricky subclass all about moving around the battlefield. The Ace Combatant, an area subclass that focuses on countering and dueling enemies in a dogfight. And then there's 2 others. So it's nice to get so many. Sometimes with new classes, you get like 3 subclasses. And I always feel like with new classes, you should probably have at least 5. Because with all the existing classes in 5th edition and the expansions and supplements that have been published, you're dealing with, 12 subclasses just for one class or more, right? And so when you only have 3, it's kind of like, how many playstyles are going to get to use this? But with 5, I feel like that's a good significant amount. So good there. But yeah, it talks about creating a stunt. Stunts live and breathe danger and will do almost anything as long as it gives them a rush. Because of this, they tend to be adventurous by default and fit in fairly smoothly in a party of like-minded individuals. Consider how this behavior could interact with other members of the party. Does the stunt provide a bright and energetic surge to a group's morale, or do they occasionally drag the party into more trouble than they might mean to? So you got a whole class table and the features, and it looks like they have a daring die that they get that goes all the way up to 1d12 when you're at 17th level and beyond. Stunt vehicle. At first level, you gain a signature vehicle and develop a style of stunts you prefer, which grants you features at first level and again at 5th, 10th, and 15th. So very cool. Stunt arts. Also at first level, you learn to perform daring stunts in combat. You can use vehicles as simple weapons with which you are proficient. When you do, you can perform one of the following actions as a bonus action. You can move 5 feet without provoking opportunity attacks. You can make an additional attack against a creature within your reach, or you can go on the defensive, gaining a +1 bonus to your AC until the start of your next turn. So I'm getting the feeling that, like, as long as there's vehicles, whether it's fantasy or modern, you can play this class. So that's cool. You just have to have vehicles of some kind in your setting. Starting at 3rd level, you learn to defy the odds to achieve amazing feats of daring. You have a number of daring dice equal to your dex mod, which you can spend once per turn when you make an attack roll or an ability check. When you spend a daring die, roll the die and add the number rolled to the check in question. You must choose to spend the die before you roll. If you succeed, you gain temporary hit points equal to the number rolled. If the roll is an attack roll, you add the number rolled to the damage of the attack. If you fail on the roll, you take damage equal to the number rolled on the daring die. This damage cannot be reduced or negated. Some features in your vehicle stat block might depend on the daring die. Okay, so very cool. I like how integrated the die is. Starting at 6th level, your skills behind the controls of the vehicle have become almost supernatural. Your attacks made with this vehicle count as magical for the purposes of resistance and immunity. So that's good. Yeah, it seems fun. Lots of abilities. So we're only reading some of them. I encourage you to come read all of them because you can read the whole book with this preview, which is nice. So the subclass is the Mad Motorist. It says starting at 1st level, you gain a special vehicle which you can operate with ease. This vehicle must be of the cruiser type. Also 1st level, once per turn, you can move an additional 20 feet in a straight line. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your dex mod, and then you get those back on a long rest. And then at 10th level, your rough and tumble methods make it difficult to attack you. When you use your cruiser vehicle's rundown feature, you gain a +2 bonus to your AC until the start of your next turn. So yeah, getting some fun stuff related to your vehicles. So I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, the cruiser is here. So all the vehicles are here. So you have airborne, vessel, cruiser, self. So my guess is that you can take these and just kind of flavor them to whatever your setting is. So cruiser is kind of like a generic name for some sort of thing that you cruise along on. So maybe it's analogous to like a motorcycle or something. So maybe in your flavor, it's going to be like a little floating platform or something. If you're in a fantasy setting, or it could be an actual like sky cycle or something. I'm not sure. Just hovering, but it's not flying really, because you have the airborne one as well, right? But it's nice to have these vehicle stat blocks that are generic enough that you can really flavor them for whatever you're going to get up to. But yeah, so Phantom Driver, got quite a bit of stuff here. So I don't see these descriptions that are in the catalog page here are not in the book. So I think that would be good if you could add those, Nicholas, to the book in the beginning of each of those subclass sections, if there's room. I think that would be helpful, or somewhere in the book, because I do think having that overview of what each one is helpful. But that wouldn't stop me from buying it. I think $4.99 is a good price, and you get a lot of information on these potential vehicles, and they're generic enough to be flavored, and then you get different kinds. So the Phantom Driver is one we were looking at a little bit there, a brutal subclass focused on locking down single targets. So when we were looking kind of at the end here, we saw a little bit of that. It says starting at first level, you gain a special vehicle which you can operate with ease. This vehicle can be of any type. So the Phantom Driver can pick from any of these four, whereas the other ones I think are tied to one or the other. We read a little bit about the Cruiser in one of those, but that's cool. Yeah, I like this. Interacting with vehicles to do stunts with them could be really fun, and I like that it could be pretty much for modern or fantasy, depending on how you flavor those stat blocks. So check it out. It's under Stunt in the links below. Give it a click. All right, that was our last new release this week. But before we go, let me tease our discount for next week. Exclusive to Splinterverse on all of our social media at Splinterverse, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's the Atlantean Compendium from Koa Johnston. Normally $15, but it's not going to be that much for you next week. 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we release our discounts. And it's a 42-page compendium with 4 Atlantean-themed subclasses, 2 races, 6 backgrounds, 7 monsters, 14 items, 33 exclusive deep sea spells, and a fully fleshed city of Atlantis ready to be dropped into any setting. So it's got a ton of stuff. I can't wait to go through it more with you next week as we deep dive into our discount for that week. But it's really exciting to have lots of stuff related to under the water. And this definitely provides that. I mean, it covers all the bases with races, monsters, items, spells, and even a city. So it's going to really help you create those underwater or even coastal campaigns, which I think is fun. So make sure you're following us at Splinterverse everywhere to take advantage of that. Well, thanks so much for watching the video. Please like it for the algorithm. Leave us a comment. I will respond to all comments personally. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you can, share the video out there on social media so we can get more eyeballs on these books, so that people just realize, that there is a lot of great third-party content out there that they may not be aware of, that could really enrich their game and support a lot of small businesses out there. And if you click those links in the video description, you're going to be supporting the creators we've talked about today and the channel, because we get a small affiliate fee based on anything you purchase after you click the links in the video description. So we appreciate it when you do your shopping with us. And if you want to be extra nice to us, we've got all of our books linked in the video description or at splinterverse.com, so you can check out all the 7 books we've released, including our latest Dragonlance Companion, which is a gold bestseller, and it's available in hardcover or digital. And we're real excited about how successful that's been. So we hope you check that out and see what all the fun is about. But thank you so much for watching. If you are a creator out there, just keep going. Don't let anybody stop you. I know it's been a holiday season and there's lots of distractions, but that's okay. Just make incremental progress every day. Do a little something, maybe spend an hour on your book. Take some notes, flesh out an idea, develop a title, develop a name, so that you can feel like you're taking steps forward every day, even if it's just a little bit of time in the shower. Obviously, it's going to take more than that to finish the book, but if you can make a little progress every day, that's going to make you feel like you're at least moving forward. And you'll have days where you can devote a lot more time, but at least inch forward so that you can feel like you are getting there. And eventually you'll be surprised when you're all done. So you've got this, and people that watch this show, including myself, will be watching for your release. So So keep on going. All right. Well, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Until next time, happy adventuring.